Howdy, howdy. I'm a hard times guy. We're moving right along in our sessions about auctions, and my pet peeve about auctions, the auctioneer selling choice. And not necessarily just selling choice, but abusing selling choice, or at least how I think choice should be used or not used. In the first session, I talked about the standard, what I think the standard should be for selling choice. Gave you some examples and indicated that I was okay with that. In the next session, I talked about some ways that auctioneers abuse selling choice. I gave you a basic example using different denominations of United States paper currency. Then I told you a couple of horror stories about things that I've seen. That example using currency is really a good analogy, and how you should think about it. If you can somehow in your mind think about currency as different things that the auctioneer is selling choice on, and you can get it out of your mind that, well, everybody knows the difference between a dollar bill and a $100 bill, and that should be true. But when you're thinking about the things that the auctioneer is selling choice on, and you realize that some of that's worth $1 and some of it's worth $100, and everybody doesn't know when it comes to everything what the difference is between the $1 item and the $100 item. And that's where I have a problem with auctioneers selling choice. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And the first thing you should notice there is the more knowledge you have, the better off you are. The best decisions are made when you have the best information to deal with. You're dealing with the truth and an abundance of it. You can make good decisions. So it used to be, before you went to an auction, you looked at the listing, and what you had was a long listing in the newspaper in the want ads of what they were going to sell that day. So you poured over that, and you thought about the things that you might want to buy, and you thought about what the availability of those things were, what they should be worth depending on what condition they were in. And if you had price guides or resource books or prior experience with auctions, maybe you saved notes that you took on your auction card, and I did that, about similar items in the past. You had information before you ever got to the sale about what was going on and what you might expect to do with certain things. Then when you got to the auction, you went and looked at the things that you were interested in, and you looked at what kind of condition they were in. I mean, that was just information that you had to have. And you looked around at other things in the sale, and you found things that weren't in the bill, and you started thinking about what you were going to do in the future, learning everything you could about what was about to happen. One of the things that you wanted to know in an estate sale early was, who are the family members of this thing being for sale today, because they're going to do things to bidding that is abnormal to normal bidding on a subject. So it was nice to know that. That was knowledge that was good to have. That's still knowledge that's good to have, by the way, but it's harder and harder to do nowadays. And then you looked around at the other people at the auction. If you're buying for resale, like I have been for years and years and years, there's a difference in buying because there's something that I like and I want it, or there's something that I like and I need it and not going to resell it, then there's all kinds of factors that affect what you're willing to pay for something. And the more of those that you can have knowledge about, the better off you are. And then you want to simplify things as much as you can. And that's one of the things I got against choice in a way of selling choice that I haven't even talked about today, and I'm not going to get to today, where they're selling choice of every item from 30 feet down the way to right here. When they're doing that, then you got all those items you got to have knowledge about. But I'm not going to talk about that one today. I'm going to stick with the one where most of the items have some similarity, and there's multiple examples of them, but the value of them may be vastly different. That's what we're going to talk about. The kind of example I said in episode 2 of this series. It used to be that auctioneers knew a heck of a lot more than they do now. I mean, some auctioneers nowadays they care less what they're selling. And they don't know anything about it. All they know is what one brought last week or what one brought last month. And it may have been something unusual that it didn't bring near enough, or it may have been something unusual that it brought 3 times what it's worth, and an auctioneer hardly knows the difference. They can just remember what something brought. Auctioneers used to be appraisers. They don't take the time to know about things like they used to. And it's just a way of the world today. In addition to not having knowledge, people don't have patience. One of the biggest enemies of you trying to go to an auction and purchase something is impatience. Nobody's got enough patience to do it, and an auctioneer has to deal with that. There's a point in time where he or she is going to lose their crowd. They're going to get up and leave, even if something they want still sitting over there, because they didn't want to spend that much time doing that. And they got impatient with waiting on whatever it was, and it's, I'm out of here. Discipline. Discipline is another thing, and it goes right along with patience, that people don't have anymore. They aren't willing to not do something if they came there to do it. Or they aren't willing to wait, or they're not willing to do it right. And so impatience and a lack of discipline are two more enemies of the successful auction goer. Not having knowledge, not having patience, not having discipline. If you're that person, you need to work on that. And stay away from auctions till you get some of it fixed. I'm going to regress just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you that my dad was a buyer and seller of things his entire life. He bought and sold and traded all kinds of things, and my entire life he did that. One of the things that he made his living doing that with was automobiles. He got, in the early 50s, he got a job selling automobiles. He sold automobiles for other people for a few years, and then he got into business of his own business, where he had a dealership to sell automobiles, and he did that for a few more years. But before that, it was pocket knives, harmonicas, guitars, shotguns, rabbit dogs, all manner of things that he bought and sold. And even at the end of his life, he had a yard full of garden tractors, old cars and trucks, just any number of things, shotguns, that he bought and sold. And so I watched him my entire life be a buyer and seller, and I tried to learn from him. And those three things that I'm just talking about knowledge, patience, and discipline were three things that he had mastered. When he went to buy something, he never got impatient or in a hurry or excited about buying something and thought, oh wow, there it is, and that's a good one. I got to have that one now. His approach to it was, there it is. They've made 1 million of them. If I can't buy that one like I want, I'll find another one somewhere and I'll buy it. That's one of the things that I learned from him, and it's one of the things that you need to learn from me. We're talking about, and I regressed, you know. Those of you that know me, you're saying, look, I thought we were talking about buying choice at auctions. Get back on subject. All that stuff's related to buying choice at auctions, but you're right, I did get off to the side somewhere there. Let's get back to it. An auctioneer's selling choice, and he's got things in front of him that he's offering you a choice of, and he's indicating to you that they're all the same, just whichever one you like the best and whichever one they like the best, and decide what the price is, and then all of you out there be nice, and you get the one you want, and you get the one you want, or you take them all, or whatever. His indication as he's selling this is they're all the same. You need to get the bid up there, because if you don't, he or she is going to take all of them. They're using that, they're putting it in your head always that everything up here's got value and it's about the same. And that is the first thing that's wrong. Don't believe any of that. You need, before you ever start, to know which one of those things you're bidding on, number one, is the most valuable. Number two, is the one you want. Because you may not want the one that's the most valuable. You may have some reason for wanting a different one. But you still need to know which one's the most valuable, so you know what's probably driving the cost. Another thing you need to know is who else is bidding on this besides you. Because you need to know, are they someone else like me who's buying it to resell? Are they the kind of person that, like me, who's trying to get the best bargain that they can, and they want to make a certain amount of margin when they do resell it? Or are they someone that's going to have it hell or high water? Because if it's that person that's going to have it hell or high water, you just got to take them to where you want it to go, and then you got to let them have it. Or you got to let somebody else get punished or punish them. You don't want to be the person getting punished. And in those examples that I gave you in the video that preceded this one, where people got punished, it was severe, and it can be severe. So, I don't know how much time I've already wasted, but I'm going to get back to some things that we want to do. And some of these are general things, so I'm just going to talk about them generally. Then I'm going to point out to you maybe why they apply, they're more applicable selling choice. The first general thing about buying anything is don't get in a hurry. And auctioneers don't even understand this. I'm going to tell them, I hate to give auctioneers good advice, but it's been my experience that they don't listen to advice anyway from me, so I'm going to give them some good advice and hope that they don't pay any attention to it. The auctioneer's best friend, his most valuable asset, is speed. If he can go fast, he's going to have the best auction that day. And they should know this, because when they got a lot of good stuff for sale and a feisty crowd with a lot of money in their pockets and a lot of people wanting stuff, the auction goes fast. They don't have to beg for bids. Somebody's out there bidding. They don't have to wait for somebody. Here they come. Boy, they all want to bid at once. And things go fast. And the auctioneer likes it. He's up there grinning like a possum. But he doesn't really discipline himself when things aren't just going his way. And he doesn't even discipline himself when things are going his way. He still, if it's his habit to hammer and hammer and hammer and yammer and try to get that last little bit here, that last little bit there, he slows the auction down doing that. That's what your goal is as an auction goer. Slow things down. The more you can slow things down, the better off you are. And the auctioneer, the more he can keep things going fast, the better off he is. The best auctioneer I ever saw, and I can't even tell you who he is because there was two of them. They were brothers, and so I can't say Don was better than Dwayne. Their names were Don and Dwayne. They were from over in Illinois, central Illinois. They were brothers, and those were the best two auctioneers I ever saw, and they only had one thing that they did consistently, and that was they went fast. They didn't slow down for anything. If you slowed down, boom, they sold it. So if you wanted something, you couldn't slow down. And because you couldn't slow down, no one tried to slow them down. Everybody, when they held something up to sell, somebody bid, 14 other people tried to bid, and they went fast all day long. And I probably went to a half a dozen or more of their sales before I ever came home and said, boy, I got a good buy today at that sale. What I usually said was, I bought 3 things. It was hard to buy anything because the crowd was going nuts, but I managed to buy 3 things, but I made a mistake on all of them. I've lost money today. Because they understood going fast, and they made sure you went fast. In fact, when they had a sale outdoors, an estate sale, they conducted that sale from the back of a moving vehicle. They had a cab on the back of a truck. They got up in there. They had stuff in rows. When the sale started, that truck started rolling down them rows, and it never stopped. If it did, they were aggravated. They were saying, why did you stop? They wanted that thing to move, and they wanted the sale to move, and the crowd just moved along with them, and they sold things, and they sold it fast. And overall, they got more money than things were worth all day long. You, the auction goer, need to slow things down. If you go fast, the opportunity for you to make a mistake is greater. So slow down every chance you get. You're not going to be one of the auctioneer's favorite people doing that. And once in a while, he's going to get aggravated to you, and he's going to sell something to somebody else just because he knows you're slowing him down. But most of the time, that's the thing to do. And the mistakes you make going slow are far less significant than the mistakes you make going fast. Now, once you got it slowed down, and once you get to where you are the winner of the bid, what do? The auctioneer just sold a choice of 9 things. And they were stoneware Crocs. Let's talk about them. They're something I love to buy, love to own. And they can put stoneware Crocs out there, and they can be two of them can be a churn, three of them can be a pickle jar, one of them could be a canning jar, and the rest of them are jugs. And some of them could be gray, and some of them could be sand colored. Some of them could have salt glaze on them, and some of them could be something else. Some of them could be marked, some of them could be unmarked. There's all kinds of different things about them. When you're buying choice on Crocs, the first thing you need to know is which ones are damaged, because you don't want those. And used to be, you'd go to a sale and you'd see all these people, the table full of Crocs. It'd sound like a clock or something over there. Tick, 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 tock, tick, tock. It was everybody going down through there hitting those Crocs with their pocket knife. Take their pocket knife out and hit every Croc. They wanted it to know whether it had a crack they couldn't see or not. Did it ring, or was it have a dead sound? You need to know condition, because that's important. Now the auctioneers now have got people convinced it don't matter. They sell them with chiggers and chips and stuff out of them. I even saw last week, I saw a number 8 B-string Croc with the crack in it that started up just below the lip at the top, come all the way down the side at an angle, turned and went into the bottom. It was cracked that distance. It brought over $300. And the auctioneer told him it might have, he said, it might have a little crack in it, but that don't matter. That's what he said. Those were his words. And he said that because he knew it had a crack in it, and he didn't want somebody to buy it and bring it back and say, this is cracked. He didn't say it to slow him down. He told him that to protect himself. The one earlier in the day that he sold was a 20-gallon Croc. It wasn't cracked. It had been broke into 40 pieces and put back together. And he said, this one's cracked. We're going to sell it. Don't bring it back. Don't cry. It's cracked. I'm telling you that. So, and he sold it that way. And he knew it was so damaged that nobody was going to pay what it was worth. But he sold that little crack in that number 8 bee sting, and people paid more for it than they should have if it wasn't cracked. Had a little crack in it, he said. Those are things you need to know. And you need to know which one's the most valuable based on other characteristics of it. Again, it's knowledge. And then you need to know which one you want. And you need to know about what it's worth. Sometimes you don't even have to bid. You can sit there and wait until 4 of them's gone. Patience. And then, when you are the winning bidder, then you need to know which one you want. You need to know before you start it was still there. Go up there and get the one you want. Now you got this question. How many should I take when I am the winning bidder? The answer to that should be 1. But it isn't always. So I'm gonna tell you that think 1, but slow down and consider other things. When you are the winning bidder, you go up there and get the one you were bidding on, but you need to think, what about the remaining ones here? You know there's 2 more that are probably worth about that same amount of money, and you know that both of them are in good condition, and you've got the bid for about half of what this one's worth. We'll get your one, and then think about those others. Do I want them at half of what they're worth? Because the answer to that is usually yes. And then think, why did they only bring half of what they're worth? And the answer to that might be a multitude of things. They might be so dirty nobody wanted to touch them. They might be so dirty that it took close examination to make sure they were okay, and maybe people didn't do that. It might be a situation where the people out there today aren't the kind of people that buy these. And it might be the situation that the guy that usually is giving you fits, not letting you buy any of these, he bought a big bucks one just right before this, and he took it to his truck because he thought they was going to go over and sell something else and then come back to this table. And so he was out the door. He was out the door. Now you can get 3 of them before he gets back in here. If you wait, them 2 right there is going to bring more than they brought this time. Things like that you got to think about and do. And when you know for sure that somebody should have took these, take them yourself. I've talked about it already, but I'm going to go back and talk about it again. Pre-sale knowledge is important. And let me say one other thing. Knowing what things are worth, look around you at a sale. Just sit there. Pretend you're at a sale. Here I am. I'm sitting there. I'm looking around. There's a lull in the action because the auctioneer's wife come up. She had a problem with somebody trying to pay over there, and she had to ask him a question. She stopped, and everybody's look around. What do you see? Well, I'll tell you what you see if you're at the same auction that I'm at, or any other auction, or any other place. If you're at a restaurant, if you're at a ball game, it doesn't matter where you are. About half these people are sitting around there looking at their telephones. And the ones that ain't looking at their telephones, they got one on their belt or in their back pocket or in their shirt pocket or laying there by them. Everybody's got a cell phone. And that cell phone is a walking encyclopedia. If you want to use it, it is. You can, anything that you want to know about, you can ask that cell phone to tell you about it, and it will. Now, a lot of people are doing that at sales. If everybody's doing that, there wouldn't be any sense in having a sale. But everybody ain't doing that because a lot of these people don't pay attention. They ain't ever paid attention in their life. A lot of them pay attention, but they ain't got the discipline to do what they're supposed to. A lot of them pay attention, but they ain't got the patience to do what they're supposed to. But the information, everybody's carrying the information around with them, and I'm as guilty as a lot of others about that phone. I got one, mine's in the truck. I don't like to carry it. I did my research before I came in here, and sometimes I have to go back and get my truck because I find something I want to know about. But most of the time, I don't even have my phone with me, and that's wrong. I should have it. Not only should I have it, I should be keeping track of everything that's going on. But I don't want to. So I don't have the discipline to even follow my own advice. But all those things, and then the other things too. Who is this guy bidding against me? Who is that woman? What are they likely going to do? All that matters. And so when you're buying choice, you cannot expect that auctioneer to help you. You got to do all these things for yourself. If you believe what they're telling you, you're going to get in trouble. I hope I give you enough. I think I'm just going to drag up right here and quit talking about this and come back to it in the next video. Don't know whether I'm going to add anything on the end of this video to make it, it's going to be pretty long already. Don't know what I'm going to do to finish this video, but I want to quit talking about auctioneers selling choice and us buying stuff because I've given you too much stuff already to chew on. I'm not even going to do a recap of what I've told you because I've already done it 2 or 3 times as we went and wasted time doing it. Play the video over again if you want to find those key points. Make yourself some key points about what's important and what isn't important, and practice the next time you go to a sale or the next time you try to buy something at a yard sale. Practice these things and see if they don't help you out. Until then, I'm the Hard Times Guy. Have a nice day. Watch my videos. Like this one if you can. Subscribe to my channel. And then share it with all your friends. You don't have to worry about them getting smarter than you because most of them don't pay no attention anyway. Have a nice day.